The 1970s weren't just a decade, they were a mood. Bell bottoms on the streets, muscle cars on the highways, and televisions glowing in every living room. But behind all that was something we lived with every day: the brands, the names that filled our cupboards, lit up our road trips, and sat proudly on store shelves. Some of them are gone now, some barely hanging on, and some transformed into something unrecognizable. But back then, they weren't just products. They were part of our lives. Let's take a trip back and remember the brands we all knew and see what happened to them. Woolworths was the corner of America's Main Street. It had everything, from notebooks for school to the jukebox at the lunch counter. Kids could grab candy for pennies, while parents shopped for the house. By the 70s, Woolworths was the heartbeat of small towns. But as malls grew and chains spread, Woolworths couldn't keep up. By the 90s, it was gone. For many, Woolworths isn't just a store lost, it's an entire way of life that vanished. Flying Pan Am was glamorous. White-gloved flight attendants, meals served like fine dining, and a blue globe logo that felt like the future of America. In the 70s, Pan Am was the symbol of the skies, but rising costs and rivals clipped its wings. By 1991, the brand disappeared, though its memory still carries the romance of the golden age of travel. Every home had the Sears catalog, the wish book. You circled your Christmas toys in it. Parents picked out furniture. Even full houses could be ordered from its pages. Sears was the giant of retail. But as America went digital, Sears stood still. Now, only a few fading stores remain, holding on to the ghost of their empire. Orange roofs, family diners, and 28 ice cream flavors. Howard Johnson's was the stop of every road trip in the 70s. Parents trusted it, kids loved it. But as McDonald's and Burger King took over, Hojo faded fast. Today, only one lonely location survives, a relic of highways past. For kids in the 70s, Atari was the future. Pong and Asteroids weren't just games, they were family gatherings. Living rooms turned into arcades. Atari launched an industry, but the crash of the early 80s crushed it. While the brand name lingers, the magic belongs to a generation that played with joysticks on wood-paneled TVs. Back when the TV ruled the living room, RCA was king. Their rabbit ear antennas and bulky televisions were in every home. RCA built the soundtrack and the screen of America. But when global electronics giants surged ahead, RCA couldn't compete. The name survives, but the glory is gone. Nothing felt more magical than snapping a picture and watching it develop in your hands. Polaroid cameras were in every house, capturing family reunions and road trips instantly. By the 70s, it was a staple. But digital cameras killed it fast. Polaroid has made a comeback in retro form, but it's nostalgia, not dominance. Need batteries? A transistor? A weird little adapter? You went to Radio Shack. It was the tinkerer's paradise. In the 70s, it was the heart of home electronics. But Amazon and big box stores erased its purpose. Today, only a handful of locations exist, mostly as reminders of a time when we fixed things instead of replacing them. The catalog rival to Sears, Montgomery Ward, brought everything into your living room. People shopped clothes, furniture, and toys from their couch. But just like Sears, the brand didn't evolve with time. It folded in 2001, a victim of the online revolution. In the 70s, blue light specials made Kmart a household name. Families rushed through aisles when the announcement came on. It was fun, it was affordable, and it felt like community shopping. But Walmart and Target crushed it. Today, only a handful of stores remain, barely recognizable. When Americans tuned into the big game or watched All in the Family, chances were good the TV said Zenith, built in the USA, sturdy and trusted. But as foreign electronics overtook the market, Zenith faded. The name lingers under LG now, but the pride of Made in America is gone. In the 70s, Oldsmobile wasn't just a car. It was the neighbor's driveway, your uncle's Sunday ride, and the dependable American machine. The Cutlass was everywhere, but by 2004, GM pulled the plug, ending a century-old brand, stylish, practical, and everywhere in the 70s. Polaroid sunglasses were part of summer. While sunglasses live on, the brand lost its shine as designer labels took over. Tupperware parties weren't just about storage. They were social events. Housewives gathered to show off the newest airtight containers. By the 70s, Tupperware was in every kitchen. Today, it's still around, but the parties are gone, replaced by online orders and dollar store knockoffs. Schlitz, the beer that made Milwaukee famous. In the 70s, it was one of the top beers in America, but a bad change in formula led to a fall so quick it became a cautionary tale. Schlitz still exists, but it's a faint echo of its former self. If you took a photo in the 70s, chances are it was on Kodak film. Vacations, birthdays, graduations, all captured on their yellow boxes. But Kodak missed the digital shift, and their empire crumbled. The name survives, but the glory days of film are long gone. From light bulbs to radios, Westinghouse was the brand of reliability. In the 70s, their logo was stamped on nearly everything electric. But the company fractured, sold off, and now only the name remains on a few licensed products. The Plymouth Duster, the Fury, Plymouth cars were everywhere in the 70s, affordable, stylish, and pure Detroit muscle. But by 2001, Chrysler retired the brand. Today, it's only in memories and collector garages. Every kid wanted a Schwinn, shiny frames, banana seats, and streamers on the handlebars. In the 70s, Schwinn ruled the streets, but foreign competition nearly destroyed them. Today, the brand survives, but it's not the same company that gave America its childhood rides. Before Diet Coke, there was Tab. The pink can was a symbol of 70s diet culture. Loved by many, mocked by some, but iconic nonetheless. Coca-Cola killed it off in 2020. For those who loved Tab, it was the end of an era. In the 70s, JCPenney was more than a store. It was where families shopped for back-to-school clothes, Sunday suits, and home essentials. The catalogs were stacked on coffee tables, filled with everything from curtains to watches. But as online shopping rose, JCPenney stumbled. Today, the stores still exist, but the magic of the 70s catalog era is long gone. Even though Studebaker had officially ended car production in the mid-60s, its presence still lingered in the 70s through used cars on the road and the nostalgia of its innovative past. It symbolized a different age of American car-making. By the time the 70s rolled around, the name was fading into history, a reminder of when smaller companies could still compete with Detroit giants. Remember those colorful cereal boxes in the 70s? Brands like Kaboom or Quisp weren't just breakfast. They were part of your Saturday morning cartoon ritual. Today, Many of those cereals have disappeared, victims of changing tastes and health fads. But back then, they were pure joy in a bowl. Does Macy's tell Gimbel's? In the 70s, Gimbel's was one of the biggest department stores in America. Holiday shopping, fancy escalators, and iconic ads made it legendary. But as retail shifted, Gimbel's collapsed in the 80s, leaving behind an empty space where bustling stores once thrived. The Firebird, the Trans Am, Pontiac was muscle and style. In the 70s, these cars were everywhere, and if you drove one, you felt like a star. But decades later, GM killed the brand in 2010. Today, Pontiac lives on in collectors' garages, not on Main Street. And that's the first 25 brands that shaped our lives in the 70s. Some are gone, some survive. But all of them remind us of a time when life just felt different. Now, I want to hear from you. Which of these brands do you miss the most? Drop your answer in the comments, and don't forget to subscribe, because in Part 2, we'll dive into more brands from the 70s that everyone knew and find out what happened to them.